Hello everyone. I shall continue with Act 1, Scene 2 of Merchant of Venice. Let us recap the class that we had conducted yesterday. So yesterday I had talked about how Nerissa and Portia were having a conversation regarding the will kept by her father, the story of the caskets, and how Portia did not have a right to choose her husband. So today we shall continue with the description of the princely suitors who had come to woo Portia and what Portia thinks of each one of them. So first there is the Neapolitan prince. So Portia says, "Ah, that's a colt indeed, for he thought nothing but talk of his horse." So according to Portia, the Neapolitan prince is just like a young horse because the whole day he does nothing but talks of his horse. He only has a conversation about his horse. He only talks about his horse. So that's why she thinks that he is a young horse, the baby of a horse, because the whole day he only talks about his horse. She further says, "And he makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts that he can shoe him himself." He even says that he can shoe the horse himself. That means he can put the iron blocks on the feet of the horse himself. So Portia thinks that because he talks too much of his horse, he even says that he can shoe it himself. So she thinks that he is just like a young horse. She even says, "I am much afeard my lady his mother played false with a smith." So because he talks so much of the horse the whole day, she has a fear and she feels that his mother had an affair with a blacksmith. So that's why he can shoe the horse himself. So this is what Portia thinks of the Neapolitan prince. She thinks that he is just like a young horse, a colt, because the whole day he only talks of the horse, and he even takes a credit upon himself that he can shoe it himself. So she feels that his mother might have had an affair with a blacksmith. That's why he has learned all the tricks and tactics of how to shoe the horse himself. So these are the feelings of Portia regarding the Neapolitan prince. So now Nerissa says, "Then there is the County Palatine." So let's see what Portia had to say about the County Palatine. So Portia says, "He doth nothing but frown, as who should say, 'And you will not have me? Choose.'" So what she says about the County Palatine is, the whole day he does nothing but frowns. He has a frowning face. He looks angry all the time. And he even says, "If you don't want me, then I don't care." So that means he is a very, very carefree kind of a person. He doesn't care about whether somebody likes him or not. So he says, "If you don't want to choose me, if you don't want me, then I don't care." And the whole day he has a frowning face. She further says, "He hears merry tales and smiles not." So even after listening to something very, very funny, he does not smile. So he always has a frowning face. He is angry almost the whole day. Even after listening to something very funny, he does not laugh, he does not smile, and he is that kind of a person according to Portia. So she further says, "I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old, being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth." So if he is so sad and solemn when he is so young, I just wonder what would happen to him when he grows old. So I think he would prove to be a weeping philosopher when he becomes old. Because at a very young age itself, he is so sad, so serious and so solemn. So Portia can just imagine when he becomes old, what will be his condition? What will he be like when he becomes old? Because at a very young age, when a person is supposed to be young, vibrant and full of energy, he is so sad and serious. So Portia can just imagine when he becomes old, what would become of the County Palatine. So she says, I think he would prove to be a weeping philosopher. I'd rather be married to a death's head with a bone in his mouth than to either of these. God defend me from these two. So she says, I would rather be married to a skull with a bone in its mouth than to either of these two. So God, please protect me from these two. So she does not want to get married to either the Neapolitan prince or the County Palatine. So she says, only God can protect me from these two fellows. So she does not have any intention of getting married to any of these two fellows because she feels they are not at all suitable for her. They are not fit to marry her. So from these things we can gather the information that Portia is not interested in these two. Now let's see the other one. How do you say by the French lord Monsieur Labon? So Nerissa says, what do you think of the French lord Monsieur Labon? So Portia says, God made him, therefore let him pass for a man. So since God has created him, let him pass for a man. Actually, he is not fit to be called a man. In truth, I know it's a sin to be a mocker, but he had a horse better than Neapolitan's, a better bad habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. He is every man and no man. So what she feels is, I know it's a wrong habit to make fun of people, but still, his horse is better than Neapolitan prince. He has a better habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. But what I feel is, he is every man in no man. That means he has a personality of everybody, but he does not possess a personality of his own. That means he's got a little bit from everybody, but the real personality that he should be having, he does not have that. So he himself could not tell who he was. He himself was confused. So he could not tell his real identity because he was every man in no man, means he had the personality of everybody but no fixed personality of his own. That's why she says he is every man in no man. If a throstle sings, he falls straight a capering. He will fence with his own shadow. So what Portia says is, every time a throstle means a bird, every time a bird sang, he would just jump about and dance and become happy. And just to show that he was very good in fencing, he would fight with his own shadow. So if she says he would fence with his own shadow, means just to show his skill, the skill of fencing, he would fight with his own shadow. So he was such a stupid person, fighting with his own shadow, and after hearing a bird sing, he would be dancing and jumping around. So she found this French lord very, very stupid, a stupid person. First of all, he does not have any personality of his own. And secondly, of all his stupid actions and habits. If he hears a bird singing, he just dances. And just to show his skill of fencing, he would fight with his own shadow. So she thinks he is a very stupid person. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. So if she would get married to him, it would just be like getting married to 20 people because he does not have his own personality. So Portia says it would be just like marrying 20 husbands in case she got married to the French lord. Because as I've already told you, he does not have his own personality. If he would despise me, I would forgive him. If he loves me to madness, I shall never requite him. So that means if supposing he hated her, then she would be very happy. She would be able to hate him back. But in case that person fell in love with Portia desperately, then she would never be able to love him back. If he hated her, it's okay. She would hate him back. But if he would love her, and that also desperately, she would never be able to return back the love that he has showered upon her. So these are the feelings that Portia has for the French lord. Now Nerissa says, "What say you then to Falconbridge, the young Baron of England? You know, I say nothing to him, for he understands not me, nor I him." So then Nerissa says, "What do you think about the Baron of England?" So Portia says, "I don't have any opinion about him. We don't talk to each other because we don't understand each other's language. Because the languages that he speaks, I don't understand those languages, and the language that I speak, he does not understand that language. So that's why we have a problem having a conversation. We don't understand each other. So I think I don't have any opinion about him. We don't talk to each other because we don't understand each other." So she says, "He had neither Latin, French, nor Italian." So she says, he does not speak Latin, he does not speak Italian, he does not speak French. And you will come into the court and swear that I have a poor penny word in the English. And she says, "You know very well that I don't speak English too much." So since he does not know Italian, French, Latin, and I do not know how to speak in English too much, so that is why we don't have a conversation. We have a communication problem because of the language problem that we have in between us. He does not understand Italian, French and Latin, and I speak very little of English. That's why I don't understand what he says. So that's why I don't have any opinion about it. He is a proper man's picture, but alas, who can converse with a dumb How oddly he is suited. Yeah, he is a perfect person. But how can you talk to somebody who does not speak your language? I cannot have a conversation with him because of the language problem. Yeah, he is a perfect person. But who can have a conversation with a dumb person? Dumb person in the sense they don't understand each other's language. And since language is the mode of communication between two people, it's very, very important to understand each other's language. Otherwise, you would not be able to speak to that person. So since the two of them do not understand each other's language, it's very difficult to have a conversation. So she says he is a perfect man, but she cannot talk to that person because of the language problem that these two are having. And she even says how oddly he is suited. The way he dresses up is so odd. Because she says, I think he bought his doublet in Italy, his hose in France, bonnet in Germany, and his behavior everywhere. So I think he bought his jacket in Italy, he got his pant in France, his hat in Germany, and his behavior everywhere. So she even does not like the way he dresses up because she thinks he's so oddly dressed up. The way he got his jacket in Italy, his pant in France, hat in Germany, and his behavior everywhere. So she has a problem even with the dressing up of this person. She thinks that he's so oddly dressed. Not only with the language, but even with the dress up. She has a big problem. So she thinks that this person is not fit enough to be her husband. So this is how Portia describes the Neapolitan prince, the County Palatine, the Baron of England. This is how she describes the three of them. So I think the explanation is clear to you, class 9. If you have any questions, any doubts, any queries, you can ask me. Please do not hesitate to ask any questions, any clarifications on any problematic questions that you have. Please do feel free to ask me any question that you have in your mind. If you do not understand any of the lines, anything, then please feel free to ask me. Okay, please do not hesitate to ask me. So we will wrap up the class for today. And before concluding everything, I have 2 questions for you. So, answer the following questions. The first question is, how does Portia describe the Neapolitan prince and the County Palatine? So here I've written what, it should be how. How does Portia describe the Neapolitan prince and the County Palatine? And second one, why couldn't she have a conversation with the young Baron of England? How had he dressed up? So here the first question, I repeat, how does Portia describe the Neapolitan prince and the County Palatine? And secondly, why couldn't she have a conversation with the young Baron of England? How had he dressed up? So these 2 questions you will work out in your notebooks after having watched the video. So first listen to the explanation and then you can solve these 2 questions. And again I am repeating, if you have any doubts, any queries, anything to be clarified, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.